Happy New Year. I'm coming to you from my kitchen with my little matcha latte, homemade. Saving money this year, right? In this economy. Let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about the 10 commandments you need as a business owner to survive in this economy, right? Let's just hop into it. Number one, thou shalt only do what you can do. If there are tasks in your practice, going to the post office, billing, anything, right? That you don't have to do, that someone else can do that you trust and that can do it, let them do it. So consider that, because in my practice, I was doing and still have to I have to guard myself around hopping in and taking things over. But you can't do everything in your practice, especially if it's growing. So this video is probably for all private practices. No, that's a good commandment for everybody, right? You could do only what you can do. Like in my practice for a long time, I was the only one that could see patients. So that's what I did. So then you might want to start to outsource. Outsource doesn't mean hiring, but it can. It can mean billing. It can mean an assistant. It can mean a babysitter, a nanny that watches your kids while you do the work, and a spouse or family member. All of those things. I once heard hire as much help as you can afford, and also ask for help. Let's free ourselves from, I want to encourage you to really free yourself from having to do it all and look amazing doing it, because it's tough, right? Especially when you're growing a business. The second thing is, thou shalt not be too attached to the outcome. Oh, that's one that I struggle with a lot, because for me, my speech private practice has been like a labor of love for me. So anything I do inside of it, I want it to be successful. But as Henry Cloud says, you put it out there and you do your best, and then we take what comes back to us. But sometimes when we hire someone, or we really want this group to work, or you really want this line of business to work, I really want to add OT to my practice, or if you're an OT, I really want to add speech, and then you're holding on to it, and you take it so personally, and you're putting all this effort into it. If you're too attached to it, then even when the thing shows you that it's either working or not, you're not always open to it. So don't be too attached to the outcome, okay? The next thing is, you shall remember, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, period. So I've been really focusing on clarity, who I see in my practice, who I don't. And just to be honest, because I'm walking this road right with you. I'm not a person that's oh, I had a private practice no, I am running this private practice as I'm making this video. And I had a very uncomfortable conversation with a parent, because I just didn't think, from what they said on the intake form and after talking to them, that it would be a good fit. They would be a good fit in our practice. And it was not the most fun conversation. But I know the therapists that work inside my practice. I know our strong suits, and I know what we don't do. And at the moment, that particular thing is not what we do. And so when you make that line in the sand, sometimes you'll pay for it, right? People will be mad, or people will be upset. But lately, I want people to be mad than me be mad at myself. Okay? Okay, so just because you can do something, just because you can do handwriting inside your private practice, doesn't mean you should. Doesn't mean you can't, but keep that in mind as you're running your private practice this year, okay? The next thing is, thou shalt give yourself and your staff time off. I know. When I first started my practice, and still today, my baseline was, if we don't get the revenue, we can't make progress. I need the revenue. So there would be times on the way to the airport, I would see a patient on the way to the airport, right? Because I was I want to not miss this visit. but rest is also productive. So please, all my high achievers, remember, rest is productive. You need it. Your people need it. And usually we come back with fresh eyes, a fresh attitude. So rest. That's it. The next commandment is, thou shalt not feel guilty about the aforementioned rest. So in this society, we are kind of built to kind of say, okay, I've got to earn my vacation. So I got to work like a dog until Christmas break, or I've got to put in 13-hour days because I'm going on vacation. But you don't have to earn it, and you don't need to feel guilty. If you're feeling guilty, I'm going to be your big sister when I say this. There's something else going on there. Are you people pleasing? Are you an overachiever because you're scared of lack? All of those are very valid. Some of those are things that I've gone through. But don't feel guilty about the rest that you need, because if you're down, the whole thing is down. And you have to look at it like you're the most important employee in your company. Like, I don't want you to I pay myself $1 million and I pay everybody else peons. But I don't want you to do the opposite. I don't pay myself at all and I pay my staff really well. Okay? And then the next thing is, the next commandment is one of my favorites. Thou shalt always remember your why. Why did you start your business? Why did you start your practice in the first place? Right? I'm wearing my University of New Hampshire sweatshirt today because when I moved from Florida to New Hampshire, I knew I wanted to start a private practice before I even started graduate school. And I knew I wanted to make really good money on my terms. That is my why. And I don't apologize for that. Your why could be, hey, I want to pick my kid up from school every day. When my kid goes on vacation, on a field trip, I want to be able to go with them. Whatever your why is, I want to work 3 days a week, or I want to work every day a week. Whatever your why is, if we're honest with what our why is and accept it, right? And then always go back to that, then you can make decisions from that place. Okay? The next thing is, thou shalt not be married to a concept or idea and not be willing to change it. I'm in a wonderful little, it's not a mastermind, but it's a group. And Dr. Daniels says, don't be married to an idea. I 100% agree with that. Sometimes even the thought of how you thought your practice was going to work, like, I really want a brick and mortar. I really want to be private pay only. And you're married to that. You so much that 20 people with an insurance plan that you could easily get on call or walk past you, and you're like, no, I'm private pay. There's a road we go back and, like, there's a balance there, right? I'm not saying give up on what your dream and what your why is, but I am saying don't be so attached to it. Again, being married to, attached to the outcome, that you're not open for new things. Okay, don't be like always easily distracted by those shiny things. But sometimes if we're a little bit more open, like I thought I wanted to be all virtual, but it turns out I hate virtual all day long. Or you could say, I thought I wanted to go from house to house, but that is really tiring. I need to rent a space, or I need to find a way to see kids in another way. I could see them at their schools or whatever. But if you're open to that, sometimes that's where your growth comes. All right. And then the last thing is, thou shalt not do everything at once. This is one of my biggest things. I fight with myself all the time. If you look at your life as, and a dear friend told me this, a pizza, right? You only have so many slices in that pizza. Like, you can have a birthday party pizza, like where there's like 27 little tiny slices, and that's where your time is. That's what your time is, right? So if you're giving like 27th parts of your, like 1/27th of your day to this one thing, it's only going to grow like a teeny bit. But if you say, no, I want a New York slice, I want my time to be like New York slices. So I've got my family and I've got my practice. And that's all I can do. Where we go like off the rails a little bit is the shiny things, right? I want a nonprofit. Like every private practice has a nonprofit now. And if you're being called to that, do that. Just know that's another business that you're starting. Okay. Or I want another line of business, or I want to do TPT. I want to store. I want to do products. I want to do courses. I want to do social media. All of those things take time. So I've seen the most successful people don't do a million things at once. The most successful people, and you think about it, the most successful people that are successful like in that thing only devote themselves to that. So you can do, and sometimes our life is calls us to do a lot of things. You're a mom, you're a wife, you're a caregiver for your parents, you are on your sorority board, you all those things. But there's only so much time we have. So consider that as you're trying to make decisions for this new year. And I realized I left one off. And I think this is one to end with. Thou shalt recognize the season that you're in. And so I remember a long time ago, I had someone come work for me. And she was really clear, very forthcoming about the fact that she wanted a private practice. I understand that. We're here to help. But that person was also like a mom to 3 really, really small kids. And she had, she was married and she was like working for someone else. And it was just a lot of things. You have to be honest about the amount of time that you want and can give to a business, to a new endeavor, right? So if you feel like up to here with things that you have to do, maybe it's not the time to start a private practice, or maybe it's time to start it in a really small way. Start by saying, I know on Saturday mornings I can work on this practice. I can see kids that time. If I don't have kids, I can work on getting myself set up, right? But if you are struggling to figure out when you would actually do the service that the business does, it may not be time. And trying to do a lot of things at once sometimes means you're not doing anything well, but it's also saying you're kind of scared that it's going to go away. So again, you might be feeling called. I feel called to do this. I feel like I was born to do this, and I feel like I should do it now. If that's the case, look at where you're at and see if there's some things you could take off of your schedule. All right? Well, that's all. My name is Adrienne. I am a speech language pathologist. I've owned my private practice for 14 years. I've gone from solopreneur to a bigger team and everything in between. So I'm wishing you well. I'm wishing you a happy, happy new year. And until next time.